Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where we explore the power of human resilience. Tonight's guest, Dr. Crystal T. Harrell, is a Yale PhD, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and the CEO of Seven Sisters & Co. From growing up in a public housing as one of the 10 siblings to become a U.S. Army Medical Service officer and scholarship awardee, Dr. Crystal embodies the very spirit of overbecoming. Her mission is to help us discover that the strength we seek has always been within us. Welcome to the show, Dr. Crystal. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you, Anya. It's a true pleasure to be here with you.
So, your journey from public housing to Yale PhD is remarkable. What inner belief carried you through those years of challenge?
That's a really wonderful question. I guess the main thing was in the early stages, I really had to believe in the vision, So I always wanted to go to school. I always wanted to go to college. I just didn't know how that was going to happen because where I come from, so I was born and raised in Alabama. And I'm one of 10, as you mentioned. So my family didn't really have the means to put me through college, but I found out about scholarships. And from just seeing that opportunity, I saw that there was a possibility for me to achieve that goal. And so I just held a vision. Even when those obstacles came, I knew that if I didn't try, then I would fail anyway. So I might as well just take a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And was that belief something you were taught or something you had to cultivate for yourself?
I want to say that it's something innate in all of us. I've seen people come from the most disadvantaged situations growing up to really achieve some incredible things in life. People like, my hero doctor, sorry, he's not a doctor, but I always want to call him doctor, but Les Brown. He was born and raised in Miami, Florida, and was born, on in an abandoned building, and he still was able to achieve his goals. And I feel like just pulling from people who have done that, who have went from very disadvantaged backgrounds to achieving their goals, I knew that there was an opportunity for me to do the same thing. So I will say that I've just always modeled people who have done the things that I've wanted to do, So looking at them, I just, used it in my own life and used some of that belief to accomplish my own goals.
Yeah, and that personal anchor make resilience feel possible for every listener.
Yeah, I believe that resiliency is something that's innate. That was a part of my research during my doctoral program, was trying to investigate the innate resilience, something that we refer to as innate health, and looking to see if that was something that can be taught or is it something that is almost mirrored back to you. But I truly believe that resilience exists in all of human beings and all of life. It's just something that's developed.
Yeah, 100%. And you have earned over $670,000 in scholarship. Beyond
Mm.
financial, what did those opportunities symbolize for you?
Oh, they symbolize the vision realized. I remember applying for all those scholarships when I was in high school. And I remember the many rejection letters I got during that process as well. But there was always a piece of me that knew that, like I said, if I didn't try, then the answer would be no anyway. So even though I was intimidated by how competitive the scholarships were, I knew that I had to try just to see if it was possible for me to get one. And that process, even though I was rejected a lot from the scholarships, I also got, a few, as you mentioned, that really helped me accomplish my goal. So it was almost like it wasn't an easy process, but I saw it as the opportunity, as the key to unlocking that door that would help me fulfill the vision that I have for my life during that time, which was to go to college.
Yeah, totally. And do you see scholarship as a tool of empowerment or as stepping stones to something even greater?
I see it actually as both. And the reason why I say that is because in order to be empowered, you have to step onto something. Like you have to have some type of foundation to really feel like, my dream, I'm empowered to accomplish my dream or empowered to envision and fulfill the vision for my life. And so, like you said, the example with obtaining scholarships, like getting those scholarships was also a stepping stone, but it was also a sense of empowerment because I was able to see that something like this, the opportunity to go to school, that dream was possible for me. And I think it is for, whatever student, whatever background you have, having a scholarship is such a phenomenal opportunity. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about developing a scholarship foundation to help, to further help students in communities where I came from as well, because I saw the opportunity they gave me to live a different life and to have the life of my dreams. And so I want to be able to keep giving that forward to other students as well.
Yeah, and this inspires listeners to see opportunity as transformation, not just survival.
Yeah, yeah, because I truly believe that human life was created more for just survival. We were created to thrive. And Maya Angelou really reflects a lot of this in her writing as well. But we weren't just created to barely get by. We have an awareness, we have a consciousness that helps us rise above the obstacles in our life. And it's about awareness. And that's something that I believe truly is the starting point. It's being aware of first what it is that you want and where it is that you're going.
Yeah, 100%. And as both a researcher and advocate, what do you believe are the biggest myths about emotional well-being?
I guess the biggest myth about emotional well-being is that it's unimportant. And as much as we have literature to support the claim that emotional wellness and well-being are is a critical factor in not just our emotional health, but also our physical health. But it's not really something that is mainstream yet. And I believe that science is still catching up to this truth about life, is that emotional wellness is the starting grounds. Our internal world must reflect health and wellness in order for our external world to reflect the same thing.
Yes. And have you found gaps between what science shows and what people actually practice in daily life?
Oh yes, definitely. There are huge gaps, and I'm trying to investigate whether the gap is in our communication of the evidence that's being found or just the lack of access, because a lot of the times this research is published in academic journals. And the journals are locked behind, paid subscriptions that usually only students have access to. But not everyone goes to college. Not everyone has access to these journals that communicate what's going on, what are the trends in health and wellness. And then also, once you start reading, it's not the easiest language to understand, right? Not unless you have a professor or someone really helping you understand what it is that these articles are saying. So I think the biggest disconnect is just in communication between the research, what we're finding in the research, and what people are able to have access to.
This also bridges evidence with everyday action, making the abstract tangible.
I think everyday action is such a key point. I know that having some type of practice, whether you call it a spiritual practice or a daily practice, the name of it doesn't really matter as much as the act itself. But having some type of daily practice is always important when it comes to bridging the gap between what we know and what it is that we should do, or that we know we could do to better support our health and wellness.
Yeah. And you often speak about healing from within. What role does discovery play in that process?
Oh wow, it plays a huge role. It's the foundation for everything that we do. I think some of the oldest wisdom, most ancient wisdom is know thyself. And it's critical because if you don't know who you are, then how are you ever to know what it is that you want out of life? So everything starts with who we are. But the key there is that we're often told who we're supposed to be in this world. And so very few people take the time to really go down that journey or that road of self-discovery to figure out who it is that they are, that vision that they have for themselves outside of the expectations of our society, no matter where that is, whether that's the US or, where you are now or, somewhere on the other side of the world. We have to know who we are if we want to really have a life rooted in integrity and alignment.
Definitely. And can you share a practice or habit that consistently reconnects you with your authentic self?
Something that I've been doing since I was a child is journaling. It's a very easy habit for me because one, I love writing, and two, it helps me. I love introspection. And so when I'm writing and I'm sitting in solitude and I'm really reflecting on, whether that's the day or just where I am in the season of my life, it helps me see that my thoughts on paper. So it's kind of like out of my head type of thing. So it's kind of like out of your head onto paper. And so that practice, I journal almost every day because it's something that helps me stay grounded. So I would definitely say journaling has been the main practice. Another practice that I don't do as often are like walking meditations. So I'll go outside and no music or anything like this, no distractions, but I'll just walk in nature and I'll look at and I'll notice the trees and I'll notice the butterflies that, that float by, or just noticing people who are walking by as well. But I'll try to ground myself in the present moment as much as possible.
That's amazing. And also, that takeaway gives listeners an entry point into their own healing journey.
I
And,
agree.
and your life proves that adversity doesn't define destiny. How do you encourage others who feel trapped by their circumstances?
The main thing that I do, I would say, is first just sharing my story and being vulnerable about a time in my life where I also felt trapped by my circumstances. And I'm truly grateful for everything that has come out of the journey thus far. I'm still living, and I still have visions for, my life. So it's not over yet. But you know, I, I'm honest about the times where I feel trapped, or the times where I didn't always know how a situation would turn out. And I find that just being vulnerable and open with others also gives them the safe space to be open and vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, something new is born, almost like a new strength to where they see themselves a lot clearer than they have before. And for me, that's the greatest gift I can give someone else. It's just my presence, my time, my attention, my vulnerability. And that helps them as well because they get the chance to show up as they are. And usually after that, people, say that that helped him, even if I don't say anything or I don't think I've said anything to really help them. I think just sharing space is the biggest thing, that social connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And is there a story of someone you have mentored or coached that continues to affirm your mission?
Yes, yes, yes. I always tell the story of the student I work with. She was a Rwandan refugee who came to the US without a high school diploma, actually. Her name is Josie. And when she came to the US, like I mentioned, she didn't have a high school diploma, but she worked her way up and ended up getting her GED. And I believe she also got her associates not long after that. And then she got her bachelor's degree. And when Josie reached out to me, she was applying to graduate school programs. And one of the schools she was applying to was Yale. And we worked together, and, I encouraged her along the way, reviewed her college applications, and really gave her the mentorship and support that I wish I had during that time in my life. And she was accepted into her dream school, plus she had funding. And when I graduated this past year, she and I actually walked across the stage together, which was the coolest experience because I got to see that everything that I went through wasn't just for me. It was to help another student and to teach another student and to guide another student. And now Josie is doing the same thing in the lives of other students as well. So it's almost like just seeing that flow of generosity, that flow of connection continue. It makes it bigger than you. It makes it more grounded in this human experience.
Yeah. And stories of impact bring hope and credibility to your message.
I would hope so. It's nice to see that what you believe in and the work that you put out in this world is making an impact.
Yeah. It's what a transformative exchange. Dr. Crystal reminds us that resilience isn't a gift reserved for the few. It's a practice we all can nurture. Her story shows that even in the hardest circumstances, self-discovery can lead to abundance and authenticity. To explore more of her work, visit crystaltharrell.com. Until next time, may you remember, your mind is not a barrier, but the bridge to your greatest becoming.